So far, what we were discussing is what are different non-linear models for regression. Out of them, we are picking decision tree for our discussion. We understand that during the training phase, this model is not going to learn a linear equation. Rather, it is going to build the tree. How to use that tree during training phase is what we were talking. But the bigger question is during training, how this tree is built, right? How the training data is evolving into the shape of a tree. So for that, we need to understand that decision tree is a model, right? But internally, it contains different algorithms. What algorithms we want to choose is up to us. For example, there is ID3, which is iterative dichotomizer 3. There is C4.5, C5, CARD, CHAD. There are different algorithms that we can use in our decision tree. And this is known as one of the hyperparameters. We will discuss about it while building the decision tree model, which algorithm we want to use. Primarily CART also stands for classification and regression trees is what is preferred nowadays. CART algorithm. So let's say for our decision tree, we have decided that we will be using CART algorithm. But then the another question is, what is the split criteria of the model? Let's say you have two columns, age and salary, based on which you have to predict the amount of loan that I can give to this person. Now, we have two features here. So when the decision tree model will be going through the training phase, it has to start from the root node, based on which the first splitting will happen, correct? Now, the question is that whether age should be used at the root node or salary, right? So let's say my model says age should be the first feature I will use, based on which I will further take the decision. And let's say then at the second level, I will be using salary, okay, for my splitting criteria. But why don't the reverse? Why not salary here and then age here? Okay, so one of the possible option is that the first column we will have here is age and say, okay, is age less than 40? So for any test data where you have age and salary, first we will check and compare the age, go to the next level of depth, and then we will compare the salary before we come to the leaf node where our prediction is there, right? The predicted value is there, right? But you also had this option that first I should have checked the salary of the person and then I should have checked the age, right? So how is this decision being taken by decision tree model? That is known as split criteria, guys. What model internally has to do is first checks that whether if I use age as the first column, what will be the Gini impurity of my model? Consider this as an impurity of the model. Then it will try with salary also. Okay, if I use age, the Gini impurity of the model is, let's say, 2. But when I use salary, the Gini impurity is 7, let's say. So because it's an impurity means it has to be less, right? So whichever split gives me lesser impurity, I will select that. So let's say model will calculate the Gini impurity if this column was used for split, and model will calculate the Gini impurity if this column was used as the first column of split. And then it will see whichever split gives me the least Gini, it will select that column. Okay. So if let's say you have one more feature, so all the features take part into the candidate selection. So at the root node, all the features are candidates and they take part into this decisioning. Everyone want to become the very first root node, but the model will select the one which gives you the least Gini impurity. Okay. So this is one of the metric on the basis of which we decide which feature we have to use at the root node. But then this process repeats at the next layer also, and so on. So at every level, whenever we have to decide that out of given features, which feature we have to use, all features will take part into that Gini impurity calculation. Okay. So for example, let's say you had age, salary, and the bank balance. So age is selected as the root node feature for split. Then at the second layer, we have two options, either salary or bank balance, right? So now at that point, model will decide between the two. If salary wins here based on Gini impurity, then the final level is bank balance, based on which we will do the next level of split. Because see, what is happening, guys? At every node, we can use only one feature for split, not more than one, right? So now if you have 100 features, what that means? The depth of the tree will be 100, right? It will be a very deep tree, but a very deep tree will take too much time to build, even during training phase, and it will take too much time during the prediction phase because it's a deep tree. You have to traverse for every prediction. So deep trees are not really good. Rather, they tend to overfit. We will talk about that. So if you don't have any criteria to stop this tree, then it will go till the depth of 100, which is bad. So decision tree model itself should have some intelligence based on which it can decide that when it needs to stop the split. Even if it has 100 features, it does not need to go till the depth of 100. It can stop at a depth of 20 also. But how will model decide that? Based on Gini impurity. So what happens is, at this split, right, at this split, there were two candidates, age and salary. So the one which gave us the lower Gini, means the lower impurity, we selected that. So let's say out of this, we selected this. But now at this next layer, we have to select between salary and the other 99 features. So all of them will take part here. And let's say at that time, salary wins. Okay. So, but let's say the Gini at this level was 2. But the split of the salary gave a Gini of 1.7. Okay. Whereas the split on all other features was giving the values of 2, 8, 20. So definitely this was the least out of all. So it wins. But we also compare this Gini with the previous step Gini, guys, and see if this Gini is lesser than the previous Gini, then only we say it's allowed. Getting my point? That out of all the 99 features, we calculate the feature which gives us the least Gini, and 1.7 was the least Gini value that was given by the salary column. Out of all the other remaining features, salary feature won. But we also need to check that as we are splitting it further, this will going to be the new Gini. So is the impurity in the model increasing or decreasing? So ideally, as you go from top to bottom, guys, the impurity of the model should keep decreasing. So if the impurity here when we were using age was 2, and when the impurity here when we are using salary is 1.7, means our model is improving. With the depth, model is improving. Its impurity is going down. Its prediction accuracy is going to increase. That's why this split will be allowed by the model. But on the other hand, let's say out of all the remaining 99 features, if the least impurity was 2.7 and rest for other features it was even more, then here what value would be there for impurity? 2.7. And is 2.7 lesser than the previous step? No, it is more. Means as we are going down the tree, the impurity is increasing. That means there is not much benefit of growing this tree. Let's stop. Let's stop growing the tree at this point, and that is known as purging. Guys, that thing is known as purging. The tree stops growing at that point, or it purge at that point. We will discuss about all this programmatically.
One thing that at the second node level, we compared the salary with remaining all featured. Why not? I mean, okay, so at the no side, let's say we will again compare the all the features, or maybe if you already selected salary, which has a very less Gini, it will come up at the both the level. I mean, do we compare it separately, yes or no side, or it is selected once and at that
Very good.
level that
At this point, I would say it is different at both the steps. But your question is, let's say age is selected here, but now here if I am selecting and salary won here, but is it by default that salary will be here also? No, it can happen here. You have bank balance,
yes,
because those calculations happens independently at both the side. Because consider what, this is going to be a different tree, right? A subtree. This is going to be a different
right,
subtree,
right,
right? So that means its decisions are independent of the decisions on this side. So the tree on both the sides grows independent of the other side.
right,
So
possible.
that's where the calculations happens here separately and here
Because
separately.
it may happen, right? If the age is greater than 40, the salary is not good, but that man should have a good bank balance, right? And if age is lesser than, but that guy has a good salary, then he's also apply have a good loan, right? So both both
Absolutely.
both the notes.
Yes, that's one of the very important thing that you just said, right? That if age is less than 40, it's not the salary of the person. We need to check more things, but salary is the primary factor. But if age is greater than 40, it may be that the bank balance is primary factor, salary may be lesser factor, right? And all these is what our training data is going to train this tree on, right? And building it based on those real world scenarios. Okay.